Fae, my name is Auggie and I make content on the fantasy, fantastical, crafty, and the thrifty. I love trinket trading. Something about it is just so wholesome and comforting. Like, here's a tiny little object just because I mess with your vibes. However, despite my love for it, I'm actually fairly new to the trinket trader scene. But I'll get into how I was introduced to trinket trading as well as a haul in a little bit. For now though, I just want to show you guys how I made my trinket trader badge, and I'll monologue while I make my trinket trades for the 2025 Renaissance Fair. So I've been wanting some kind of badge that said trinket trader for a while now. And one day while scrolling on Pinterest at some godly hour of the night, I came across this reposted video from TikTok by a user called VetasWorld, and I thought it was just the cutest and most perfect pin for all my trinket promotional desires. I had popsicle sticks, I had safety pins, I had beads and trinkets and gizmos to decorate it with. I was set. So obviously, disclaimer, this idea is not mine. It is VetasWorld. I'm just showing you how I actually made mine. It's ever so slightly different, but it's literally the same exact concept. So full credit goes to VetasWorld. I cut the popsicle sticks down to size and glued them together and made sure that the pin would be large enough so I could draw the trinket trader symbol on it and still have enough room to legibly write trinket trader around it. I used scrap lace for my fairy shoes, as well as beads, a coin that says fairy on it, and a little jar of glitter to decorate it. I didn't have larger safety pins at the time of making this craft, so I just used two smaller size pins. They're just the average size safety pin, and I glued them to the back and secured them with some felt, but I definitely recommend using like those larger, more heavy duty pins, because when I actually wore it at the fair, one side just continued to pop off and would go lopsided. It was pretty annoying to have to continuously fix it. And that's it. Just a quick and adorable craft to show the world that they should ignore the warnings to never accept gifts from the Fae. As for the trinkets that I'm bringing to the 2025 Renaissance Fair, I'm making fairy bells, which is the same thing that I did last year, but this year's is a little bit more tangible. Last year, my fairy bells were heart-shaped pipe cleaners with a bell hanging at the very end of the heart. But this year, they're keychains with a little bell and a key attached to them. Anyways, it's time to tell you guys about my discovery of trinket trading while you watch me make these fairy bells. When I was making my costume for the 2024 Renaissance Fair, I had the idea of making fairy bells or having some kind of little object to hand out at the fair. I kind of wanted to play up a character of sorts. However, at the time, I had no idea that trinket trading was even really a thing, and it had been like 6 or 7 years since I had last gone to the Renaissance Fair, so I was unfamiliar with the modern culture of the fair, specifically the one that I always go to. I was worried that by trying to play a character or handing out trinkets that I would be like kicked out of the fair or something, or that the fair wouldn't like that because I would be like impersonating staff or trying to be an NPC or something like that. I was definitely overthinking it bad. However, not long after discovering what trinket trading actually was and indulging more in on that culture on YouTube once I got home from the fair, I realized that I was not too far from the truth with my overthinking, because some fairs either completely disallow trinket trades for whatever reason or disallow certain trades. I know there's one fair, I don't know the fair specifically, but they don't allow you to trade jewelry. Like if you made bracelets or something, you couldn't hand those out. And I don't know why, But anyways, I was truly just thinking of the worst case scenario. However, on Saturday, the first day of the fair, a little boy came up to me and handed me a star anise and a doubloon. And this made me realize that I could indeed hand things out, even though I still had no idea that there was a proper term for it. I basically just took it as permission that I could hand things out. If this little boy could do it, then so can I, right? So the next morning, while I was getting ready for day 2, my best friend sat on my hotel bed and helped me make my fairy bells. I was doing some final touches on my costume while I was traveling to the fair. I'd stopped in another state to visit some family, stayed with them for a little bit, and I was working on my costume at night. So when I actually got to my hotel, I still had a bunch of supplies, so I just used what I had left, which were pipe cleaners and bells, to make fairy bells. And I say that my friend helped, but he pretty much did all of the work after I just showed him how to make like 1 or 2 bells, and he just sat there and did them all for me while I was getting my makeup done. So shout out to my Pookie for literally being the GOAT the entire time at the fair. You know how cosplayers usually have handlers that go with them to conventions and events and stuff to make sure that nothing goes wrong for the cosplayer, they stay hydrated, no wardrobe malfunctions happen, and if they do, they're there to help fix them? That was basically my friend the entire time at the Renaissance Fair, and we even joked about it like while we were going through the fair and stuff, how he was just my handler. But anyways, that's enough glazing. I just love my friend. Back to the new and improved fairy bells. I wound up with about 30 bells to bring to the fair. I attached the keychains to this decorative keyring that I found in one of the plentiful craft boxes underneath my bed, and it literally became that one meme about the custodian keychain flail. I was worried that 30 fairy bells wouldn't be enough though, especially since I'd be flaunting my trinket trader status with a huge pin on my chest. So I obviously needed to bring a second trinket trade item as a plan B. And said plan B was going to be actual bees made out of pom-poms and pipe cleaners, but I never actually sat down to do it, unfortunately, as cute as it would have been. So instead, I procrastinated like I always do, and while I was packing for the Renaissance Fair, I realized that I had this entire drawer full of like small silk flowers that I bought in like 2022 and have barely used since. So I just emptied them into a bag to tie around my belt to use as my backup trinket trades in the event that I ran out of my fairy bells. And now it is time for my trinket haul from the 2024 Renaissance Fair. I'm not done yapping, this is a yap video, okay? Meet Trinket Trader Toad. He holds all of the trinkets I receive at the fair. He'll be emptied and brought with me this year as well to stash all of my goodies in, and he is technically a trinket trade as well. He was listed for $50 at the shop, and I bargained him for $40 and a fairy bell and my name. Yes, I got fey chopped by the vendor. I don't want to hear it, okay? I spent too much time in the human world and I've become stupid like them, but it's okay. Trinket Trader Toad was worth it. As you can already see, he has bounty aplenty. And I actually wrote down who gave me what trinket and how the interaction went, so I'll actually be able to recount to you guys about each trinket. But before I do that, I do want to show him off because he's just so cool. I like his little butt crack. I think that's probably my favorite part. He is a real toad. I don't know what kind of toad he is though, so if anyone can enlighten me on that, I would love that. Yes, he is a real toad. He's super cute, and his eyes kind of wiggle. I don't, like, they kind of shift back and forth, but it's kind of hard to tell. And he's just constantly mean mugging. He's great. Love him. Love him. Meet me. I love his little booty crack. This is who made Trinket Trader Toad. Anyways, let's continue and see what goods he has. So let's start with this. It's a little soot sprite with butterfly wings on it, and it has a little hair clip so it can be worn or put on something. There was a jewelry lady who actually, she had really cool jewelry. She used really cool looking stones and methods to make her jewelry. They were all ridiculously unique and fantastic looking. My best friend who went with me got a bird skull necklace from her and a crow pin, like just a little brooch to wear. And we all trinket traded for the sprites. I believe my friend got his sprite because he bought from her, but I trinket traded for mine. She also had this book where she kept her phone in to process electronic payments. She carved out a hole in her book for her phone, and I just thought it was really cool because it was immersive. She was still able to use her phone without, like, you know, like I said, without breaking the immersion. And she was using her finger to do it with, and I had told her, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what you could do? You could make a fake quill to use it with. Use like one of those touchpad styluses that they use for phones and put a feather on it, and it will look like you're using a quill while you're trying to use this book. And she was like, oh my god, that's such a good idea. So yeah, that's this one. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, next is this one. This is a little sprout hair clip that you can put on your head. My best friend also got one. His was like a little 2-leaf thing. It was more like clover shaped, less sprockety like mine. And yeah, it was just from somebody who really liked our costumes. They were very nice. Now we can open Trinket Trader Toad up. And we can dig around in here and see what we got. Oh, okay. So this is actually only part of the trinket trade. So let me see if I can find the other pieces. Okay. There's the other piece and this doubloon. So what happened was my friend and I, we were walking past this NPC lady who was a quest giver, because the Renaissance Fair that I go to offers like, it's just a game that you can play. It's just a form of entertainment where you just go on a quest. I've never done it before, actually. I thought it was kind of catered towards a younger audience, so I never participated. I don't actually know for certain, but she was trying to like role play with us, and she just glitched out. Like she just stumbled over her words and she couldn't save herself, so she just like threw her hands into the air and was like, whatever. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious. It was just like a really funny, endearing human moment, and I was like, I gave her a fairy bell for making me laugh. And then she had an assistant. They were some kind of like goblin creature. There was some feral beast, and they grunted at us to get our attention, and they had this treasure box, and they open it and dig around in it and pick out these 3 little things to give to us after we trinket traded with the first lady. And this is a mushroom, but it was raining at the Renaissance Fair the second day, and it just didn't like the rain. It didn't like the humidity. It didn't like getting wet, so it just like covered my hands in this orange paint color, I guess. It just got absolutely everywhere. But it is a mushroom. I think it's supposed to be like stuck into like miniatures or something like that, like fairy gardens. This is a doubloon. Very nice, very nice. I don't know what it says. I just see a 2. That's all I see. And then a bead. Ta-da! Which actually I really like. I like the color of it, and I like the I don't know. I just like it. I think it looks nice. But yeah, there's that. Next is a good thing that I grabbed this one, because this is also a 2-parter, and for a moment there I didn't know which doubloon belonged to which, but I did remember that this one was for this specific trinket trade. This is also a 2-parter, like I just said, so let me fish around for the other part of it. Okay, and here it is. It's a star anise. If you don't know what star anise is, it is just a spice that smells a lot like licorice. But anyways, this is the trinket trade that I got on Saturday that introduced me to trinket trades. This little boy with his parents get my attention. The little boy was really shy, but his parents got my attention for him, and he gave me these, and I was like, oh, you're so sweet, you're so cute, what the I was very, very tickled about this. It just made me really happy, and I felt bad that I didn't have anything to give to him because it was on that first day where I didn't have my fairy bells. So c'est la vie, I suppose. That is what this trinket trade is. Less of a trade, more of just a gift, and it is the entire reason why I started giving trinket trades on Sunday. So thank you to that little boy who was so just sweet and kind. In the same breath, this duck came from a tarot card reader that my best friend wanted to go see. She actually told me about trinket trading. Like, I had all of my trinkets out, and I don't remember if I was maybe holding one, because my friend he was like, you need to like start keeping one on your finger or something, because you keep forgetting that you have these in your pouch and you're never going to give them away unless you're holding it. So maybe I think I had it in my hand or something like that. I don't really remember, but the tarot card lady, she told me that it was called trinket trading, and she held out like a little handful of ducks for us to take our pick from, and I just went with the classic little yellow duck. So also a thank you to her for introducing me to the culture in proper. Oh my gosh. So this is just my bell. This is just a piece of the fairy bell. It doesn't have the heart-shaped pipe cleaner on it, but I know I wanted to keep one, and I think I maybe had just like slipped it in my bag when we were down to the last bell just as a memoir, but we never turned it into a, you know, into a trinket. But yes, that is my fairy bell. And last but not least, there was a very pretty Viking lady who was outside of one of the shops that my friend and I were at, and we were talking with her a little bit. I don't remember about what, but I think she had asked if we wanted to trinket trade or something, and yeah, she had this bag that she just pulled out, this little drawstring bag, and she was like, stick your hand in there and just pick something. And it was just a bag of these, what I can assume were probably just these rune things. I don't know for certain if it's a specific kind of gemstone. I don't know much about gemstones, but it is very, very pretty. Kind of reminds me of my eyes. Yeah, I like it. I don't know which way the rune is supposed to go, because I'm an uncultured swine. But where is that one? And that is everything. Trinket Trader Toad has no more to offer us. But I do have some stories about trinkets that I gifted to others, so here's that.
Like I just said, I had handed out some fairy bells that weren't a trinket trade because there was no trade. Rather, it was just more of a gift, but I still do remember plenty of those interactions, so here's a few of those. There was a little girl who had fairy wings on that she had bought from the fair, and I had given her a fairy bell, and she had started to sing jingle bells and dance a little bit. It was very, very cute. She was just like shaking the bell and like teetering back and forth and dancing. It was absolutely adorable. And then that same little girl, I was trying to get some money out of an ATM a bit later into the day, and she was a little bit across the ways, and she saw me and she goes, "Hi, Sunflower," because I had my big yellow hat on, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, hi, come here, come here." I had completely forgotten that I had given her a fairy bell already, and I had crouched down to give her one, and she's like, "Oh, you already gave me one," and I was like, "I did." And I don't know, it was just very, very polite, very sweet of her to acknowledge that she had already been given one, and let me know. And also, she was just like so stinking cute. It was just such a wholesome interaction. And another instance of a small child being absolutely adorable, there was a little boy who I think came up to me or something like that, and he was just in awe of my costume.
And I think he was up there with his mom. I think he had come up with her to say hi to me, and I think he had taken a picture with me, and I'd given him a fairy bell, and he had looked at it, and he was just like fascinated by it, and he ran off to go show his dad. He like ran off going, Dad, look what I have. It was just so cute. I was like, my heart was so full. In the same kind of area and interaction, there was a first-time fair goer, and me and my best friend were talking with her. She had been adopted into a group of veteran. You can very clearly see that they were veteran fair goers. They were professionals. And they were taking her around, showing her the ropes, you know, like just hanging out and stuff. And I had given her a fairy bell as well and welcomed her to the Renaissance Fair. And she was in casual clothes then, but we had actually bumped into her again at the very, very end of the day, like as we were walking out. And she was in this like white goddess gown and stuff that they had gotten at the fair, and she looked marvelous, and it was just, I was really glad that I got to see her again, and it was like a very full circle moment. It was great, very wholesome, and she clearly seemed to be like enjoying herself just to the fullest, and I was really happy for her. And I hope that you know, the Renaissance Fair is just a place that she can go to from now on and truly feel at home along with the rest of us. But also at the ATM, there was like 2 belly dancers coming up to, I think just in passing, advertising their show that was going on later in the day in about like an hour or 2. One of them had complimented my costume, and I had given her a bell, and she had attached it to the front of her top and stuff. And I had gone to her show. I'd said I would, you know, gave her a bell. We went to her show. It was very nice, very cool, very hypnotizing. I love women. And she had her bell on her front the entire time. I was very touched. It was just very sweet to see. And on Sunday, my best friend and I, we went and got ramen from one of the food vendors, and the person at the stall told us that it was her birthday that day. So of course I gave her a fairy bell, and she had also showed us the other gifts that she had received from her other friends at the fair and anybody else who had given her gifts. And she had a taxidermy bat, which was really, really cool, and a rabbit's foot, and I think something else, I can't remember what. And at our hotel, we would always go down and get breakfast before we started getting ready for the fair, and we had a waiter who clocked us so viciously. They were gender fluid, so, you know, I would expect nothing less of them, but But she literally looked at my best friend, clocked that he was a trans man, looked at me, clocked that I was non-binary, and then was like, okay, now guess me. And we were like, you're gender fluid. And he was like, yes, ma'am. He didn't actually like say it like that, but takes a queer to know a queer, I guess. I always think it's absolutely hilarious whenever I am properly identified, because I dress very femme and present myself to be very femme, so it's always very like, oh wow. Okay. I get very excited. Especially because I don't reinforce it or anything. I couldn't give a shit what people call me or what people think I am. I'm comfortable enough in my own skin. However, it's also very nice to also be acknowledged and, you know, identified in a good way. But yes, we tipped the hell out of them, and I also gave them a fairy bell. And just going off on another random tangent, because this is a yap video. I told you, I warned you. My best friend had to leave because he had quite the drive to make. So he left much earlier in the day than I did. I want to say that he left around like 4 a.m. or something obscene. So I cried my eyes out to see my best friend go back home. I was deeply saddened. And I cried like a little baby the entire morning. I cried while eating. I cried on the drive home. I cried for days and days after. It was definitely in part because I just missed the Renaissance Fair, but a huge chunk of it was that I missed my best friend. The same waiter came up to me, you know, and I was like, he had to go home. When I say that I was fully in tears sobbing, I probably looked like you would have assumed that I was divorced. Like I'm recently widowed or something. Something awful just happened to me. The way that I was crying into my oatmeal. And you know what? No. Something awful did happen to me. I had to say goodbye to my best friend and the Renaissance Fair was over. But yeah. That's everything. That's all I have for you guys today. Ending it on quite the note, I know. This is just another video in preparation of the Big Kahuna, the 2025 Renaissance Fair vlog that I'm working pretty hard on. At the moment, you know, grinding away on it now to make sure that I get it out for you guys and that it is presentable. Please keep me in your thoughts as I threaten to murder past me for procrastinating so profusely. And look forward to the next video, which will be coming out very soon. There is only one more video to come out before the Renaissance Fair vlog, and it too will just be a quick little video just of another thing that I made in preparation for my costume for the Renaissance Fair. And if you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you so desire, and leave your name in the comments for no Fey Trap related reasons whatsoever. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Oh my god, just say it. Just say what you need to say. Like, oh my god. This is like the 7th time I can't utter. Oh my god. I'm calm. I'm normal.